Yeah, I mean, I like that from Glenn there. They've got to start trying to, I guess, put a little bit of pressure back on the Vipers. And if you can't find the boundaries, then you've got to use finding gaps and running well between the wickets. And that's certainly something that these two can look to do.
Swept away into the onside where there's only short fine leg up, so quite content to let them have one through there. Very clear what Smith's being asked to do and execute here, which is to bowl pretty straight.
Yeah, and she does it pretty well as well.
Straight to Smith, who fields well off her own bowling. Typically tight set from her here, just 3 balls left of it. 2 for 31 yesterday, which sounds pretty good, but as I sort of joked on commentary at the time, by her standards is very expensive. That's a nice shot inside out, just trying to get it into the gap. Sort of extra cover. It's a big chase coming around from long off, but a good chase as well. Tiny bit of fielding to keep it to 1.
Yeah, you say expensive, but I think there was a lot of runs scored.
Oh, well, it's very
that eliminator game, so she actually was probably pretty tidy, considering some of the others' figures and runs that they went for.
Tried a quick single, and the sort of vibe from Smith with the way she threw her head back there was she thought maybe a direct hit was out there. So it is 4 singles from the over. This is again through that extra cover region, and again it's a single. 67 for 4 off 13. You can insert all the puns you want about the Vipers sort of tightening their grip, venom, etc, etc. Right now it is all going their way. 67 for 4 off 13.
Yeah, great start by Vipers. Just bowled a lot of dot balls, and that's putting Blaze under pressure. Blaze not lost a wicket yet today, but these two, it'll be interesting to see when they sort of put their foot down and hit the accelerator. They haven't actually been that aggressive yet, have they?
So they've added 11 from 2.5 overs or so since that resumption. So there's been a period of cautious accumulation.
Yeah, I think what is interesting though is, and I think if you were Blaze and you are Glenn and Kelly in the middle, I think you're looking at Smith and Shrubshaw have already bowled out, so what's to come?
Dean back on. And this is met with a raw aggressive blow down the ground, and a blow that brings the end of the dangerous Sarah Glenn. Well, we were just discussing when the Blaze might decide they've got to go through the gears. Sarah Glenn had enough of working the singles, but has to perish. Charlie Dean gets the breakthrough, 67 for 5.
Yeah, I don't want to say that was inevitable, but, you know, Blaze have to take the aggression option at some point. I mean, Glennie hit that pretty well, but unfortunately could only find long off, and it's well hailed from Freya Kemp. She made a mistake yesterday, but she makes no mistake under that high ball, and yeah, great start by the Vipers.
Yeah, and that is a valuable one, because she's been in great form with the bat, Sarah Glenn. She hit a joint highest T20 score of her career last Sunday, with a quick-fire 43 not out of 29 against the Sunrisers. But in comes someone who has been, you'd probably say, more destructive with the ball this season in the Blaze story, but certainly has the capacity to be destructive with the bat in the Dean de Klerk.
Yeah, I think she's been a superb signing for the Blaze. Not a massive name, but she's come in and she's done a fantastic job, like you say, Michael, with the ball. And she's a very handy batter as well. Hits in not unusual areas, but does like to favour that extra cover region. I know when Western Storm played against her, we were certainly thinking about how can we shut off that area of the ground.
De Klerk, 69 runs in this competition this season, has been out 3 times at a strike rate of 118. It kind of goes back to what you're saying about the Smith figures before. We are seeing statistics start to evolve to more of a point of factoring in the wider game. De Klerk gets off the mark with a clever push and run. You know, 7 and over in one game is brilliant. 7 and over in another game is politely put, not so good. I know the analysts are all over that these days. The sort of weighted averages, as one might call it. Flipped away by Kelly, who's been very circumspect for her 10 off 21. Albeit in her defence, it would be very easy to watch and think, T20 game, but that was built a little bit last night and then today in very tough circumstances against some very good Vipers bowling. Clark again will get one. Still haven't had a boundary since the resumption.
Yeah, I was saying that it's obviously positive from a Blaze perspective that they could get together last night and have a conversation, but also those two batters that had faced a number of balls have to start again this morning.
Again will be just one. Almost got run out from hitting that too well, Kelly. She's hit that straight at extra cover, and because she picked out extra cover so perfectly, it gave her a chance on the direct hit.
Yeah, skipper Georgia Adams sitting on the ring at extra cover. I think it shows what a strong position Vipers are in, that they really, really don't mind giving Blaze a single here. They're not even looking to squeeze the new batter de Klerk. They're happy for Blaze to just take ones.
Steps down the track, and again it's a little bit of tip and run cricket, and the dive just about saves Kelly. It's the end of a lovely over from Dean, who's conceded 5 from it and picked up the wicket. So 72 for 5 off 14. So run a ball from here, bit of quick maths, that gets you 108.
Yeah, you can just see there Blaze trying to scamper between the wickets. I do think that is a good option for them if they can't bludgeon the boundaries at this stage, and they do have to try and be busy between the wickets, get up and back and try and put Vipers under pressure somehow, but at the minute it's Vipers in cruise control almost.
Yeah, this is a team that, they haven't had the perfect campaign. Let's be honest, it's not maybe been as consistent as they'd have liked. They did lose a couple of games in the group stage against the Blaze and then against the Sparks, but my goodness me, they love a finals day. It's Adams. Slog sweep, nicely timed. Could be the first boundary of the day. It is the first boundary of the day. Lovely shot from de Klerk, picked the gap perfectly.
Yeah, great option there by de Klerk. Pierced the two fielders on the leg side boundary there. She does like to sweep and generally does sweep hard in front of square, so she did well to split those two fielders.
That one just seemed to get a little bit of extra bounce. It had de Klerk sort of feeling for it. Nicely bowled, good response from Adams. Rocks back deep in her crease, and it's a nice baseball style shot down to long on for one from de Klerk. Intent on trying to steadily up the ante. Good footwork from Kelly, who's trying to repeat what de Klerk did earlier on in the over. Doesn't quite get enough of it. Cut off by Wyatt for one.
Yeah, good intent there by Kelly, and I think we need to see, well, we need to, and Blaze certainly need to see a little bit more intent from her. There's a lot of space on that leg side.
Sure, not the best delivery. It's a deep backward square for one. 79 for 5, so just trying to set up this charge for the last 5, Blaze. Maybe if they can have a big last 5, they could be looking at 120, around that runner ball region. Adams drops it short, hit hard out there towards Wyatt. Kelly has 13. End of the over, the best over they've had since the resumption, although it's not necessarily saying as much as the Blaze would want it to. 80 for 5 of 15. In the sun here at Worcester, after a few more thoughts from Sophie Luff, yours truly, Michael McCann, will be replaced and very much improved by the presence of Georgie Heath.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, Blaze 80 for 5 here. I think we're going to see Georgia Elwis into the attack. Really interested to see what bowling options Vipers use in these last 5 overs. Elwis has still got 3 overs to bowl. She could potentially bowl the 16th, 18th and 20th. And then they could use Adams and Dean to bowl their last overs as well. Whether they'll use Mary Taylor, I'm unsure, but they have her up her sleeve. Welcome, Georgie.
Good morning to you. Glorious day. We've gone for the shorts today. Braving it. I wasn't sure whether that was because I thought maybe my legs drive faster than my trousers did yesterday. But absolutely, yeah. Glorious day back in Worcester. Feels like we never left last night, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of a strange feeling, isn't it?
Ellis to continue with her second. It's a nice looking shot. It's good work out there. Is it Boucher out on the boundary?
Yeah, I think that's Boucher right there. Very good there. Stopped them coming back for 2 as well, so great work at a long on.
Well, last time I saw Maya Boucher out in that position yesterday, she was barefoot and covered with a towel over her head, but she was smiling. Nice and full from Elwes, and Boucher's getting a bit of a runaround today. Lucky she's not barefoot and covered in a towel. So we're into the final 5 overs. What would you say Blaze would be looking to try and post to give themselves a chance?
Well, I think they need to post at least 120, which would obviously be runnable for the Vipers to chase.
I guess they do have that bowling attack that has put them in such a strong position in both competitions so far this year, the Blaze. I think if they can get one of Boucher or Wyatt very early, they'll feel pretty confident. But they're a very good-looking team, the Vipers. They know how to win, don't they?
Absolutely.
That's going to race away. Yeah, good work, obviously, by the ground staff here, and it's still a quick outfield, and that's wide and gone for 4. I hear they were out here until 11 o'clock last night, mopping up, and then back out at 6 today. Someone was staying in the Premier Inn and spotted them, so really good work. Shout out to all the ground staff here at Worcester for making today happen. That's a good recovery from Elwes following the wide.
Yeah, I think at the start of the day I was thinking that Blaze would probably be targeting, 130, 135 if they could get that partnership going between Kelly and Glenn. But it looks like this could be the key partnership now with de Klerk in.
She's done good work to give herself room, but finds the fielder. They're doing well running, actually. Been impressed earlier. It looked a bit like a game of tip and run for a while, but putting the pressure on the fielders.
Yeah, I think if you communicate well as a batting pair and you're both on the same page in terms of what you're looking to do, then those tight runs, get that scoreboard moving and that momentum going your way.
She's just tempting her, isn't she? Elwes, and it's been a good recovery at the end of the over. Expensive over, though. Blaze move on to 90 from 16. 4 overs to go. De Klerk and Kelly going along nicely, so they'll feel they've got a bit of momentum pushing into the final 4 overs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 10 and over from here, the last 4 overs gets them up to 130, so I think they will be looking to do that. Vipers have got such a strong bowling attack. They've obviously got Dean to bowl 1 more, which it looks like she's going to bowl that now. Adams has got 1 more as well. And then, is Elwes going to bowl her 2 from the other end to finish 18th and 20th over. They have Mary Taylor, like I was saying earlier, up their sleeve, so whether we'll see her, I guess it's a lot of pressure on a young girl to come in and bowl sort of like those latter overs when you haven't bowled in the game so far.
Yeah, and they don't need to put that pressure on. They've got the happy problem of almost too many bowlers at the moment. Yeah, nicely worked. Will just be the 1. I mean, keep rotating this strike, and we know that Nadine de Klerk can give it a whack.
Yeah, I think Kelly can give it a whack as well. I mean, she's found herself in the middle order in this game, but I know she's opened the batting in previous Charlotte Edwards Cup games for the Blaze.
Well, she's given it a whack, and it's been put down. coming in off the boundary. That's Danny Wyatt. She'll be disappointed.
Yeah, she will be disappointed there. Shelled one yesterday in the earlier game as well, and missed opportunity there from the Vipers.
Dean in again. Flighted delivery will just be the one. Yeah, it's difficult. Danny Wyatt, we know her as such a good fielder, so she's going to have to sort of forget that one and move on, but that could have been a really big moment in this game, just to break this partnership as we come into the final few overs. Well, that's up in the air. And, I mean, Charlie Dean, she set off like a sprint, didn't she?
Yeah, I don't know whether she thought there was a genuine chance of a catch there, or whether she just knew that she had to chase that hard to stop them getting two. I actually thought that de Klerk got more on that, and I thought Danny Wyatt was in with another chance of catching it, but didn't even leave the inner ring.
Dean again, good use of the feet, worked into the onside. Yeah, Charlie Dean, gosh, she set off out the traps. I was the same as you. I thought Danny Wyatt has just followed you, like it so often does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Really good over here from Dean. Just gone for the 5 singles so far. Looking to change her pace, and yeah, she's bowled pretty tidily. 1 for 21, 1 ball to go.
And she's bowled her. Well, that is the end of Nadine de Klerk. Charlie Dean, it was a tight over. She had the pressure on, and it's just a bit fuller. And Nadine de Klerk looked to work it into the offside. And that was the stump out of the ground.
Yeah, de Klerk there just looking to give herself room, but in the end gave herself too much room, and Dean finishes her spell with 2 wickets to her name. And Blaze, 95 for 6 here. They're going to need some late order hitting to try and get them up to a decent and respectable score here.
Nothing better as a bowler than taking the stump out of the ground, especially as a spinner.
Yeah, they obviously need to put them in a bit harder.
Brings Sophie Munro to the middle. Not really fired so far in the tournament. High score this campaign of 12 not out up at Derby against the Vipers. But if there's ever a time to come to the party, it's in the final.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, Blazes' day is going similar to the story of yesterday, their first 10 overs yesterday, where every time it looked like they were going to get a substantial partnership, they just lost that wicket and lost that momentum. And it is going to be Georgia Adams to complete her set, bowl her allocated overs. The Vipers really going for the squeeze here.
I think it's a good decision by Adams. Oh, they're going to push back for 2. They're going to have to be quick here. Yeah, good work. And they make it back safely. It's a good decision, Adams, to bring herself on. She's bowling tightly at the moment. Gone for just 16. So they're going to be thinking about just keeping that scoreboard pressure on. They have to be quick again. Chance of a run out. Well, they're taking them, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I think there are those scoring opportunities there, though, for those quick singles. A lot of the Vipers fielders that are in the ring are sat well on the ring, so there are those opportunities for singles.
Yeah, just get that squeeze on at the end. It's not necessarily about taking the wickets. Just keep the run rate down. They're only at 98 in the 18th over, and these, obviously, Kelly will be considered, she's the one you want on strike at the moment. Not necessarily 2 big hitters out there. So just keep the pressure on, and she's bowled it. She's gone. That's another wicket. Georgia Adams picks up her second, and Munro, she goes for a golden duck.
Yeah, you just can't keep Georgia Adams out of the game. Obviously, since turning pro, she's made herself into a very handy all-rounder, and she just picks up wickets on a regular basis and has been. She's skipper of the Vipers, so she's a crucial cog anyway. But the ability that she's got with the ball to pick up crucial wickets is, well, it's just a bonus to the Vipers, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess with a wicket comes a dot ball as well. But that's really good bit of bowling from Georgia Adams. You say, since she went pro, she really has become that sort of genuine all-rounder. She's got the golden arm, hasn't she? She makes stuff happen.
She does, yeah, and Munro is playing across that one as we see Lucy Hyam come to the middle. And I like Vipers' approach this morning. They've been really aggressive. They've used their best bowlers early. They want to stem this Blaze, setting this total as quickly as possible. And Elwes is probably going to bowl one more over. I presume we are going to see Mary Taylor bowling over as well to finish the innings. But I like how attacking Vipers have been so far this morning.
And that Lucy Hyam off the mark with the first delivery. Well, she's batted once in the tournament so far, Lucy Hyam, and was not out. So it's her highest score of the tournament.
Yeah, I guess that shows just how dominant Blaze have been, that they haven't required their lower order as much as other teams have.
Yeah, that's nicely played. And they're just going to scamper through for the one, and that brings up the 100 for the Blaze. So 17.5 overs gone, and the 100 comes up 100 for 7. Still 2 and a bit overs to go. They could push that run rate up. As Hyam swings it into the onside, but fielded on the bounce. I thought for a moment the fielder might be in the game. And that's the end of the 18th over. Blaze 101 for 7.
Yeah, it's a big boundary on one side here, and I really think the boundary that they've set here at New Road is brilliant for the women's game. I think it's a little bit shorter over the far side, so boundaries are easier to come by. But I love seeing a slightly bigger boundary, the skill and art of trying to get up and back for twos and hitting that space. And we saw a lot of that in the eliminator game, in that high-scoring eliminator game yesterday.
So I did a Rachel Hayhoe Flint game here a few weeks ago, much colder day, and they were using the furthest pitch from us. And honestly, I think I could have hit a 6.
Yeah, we've had some particularly short boundaries this year, actually, and yeah, I think the women's game has moved on from. I understand that sometimes you will be playing over one side and you can't really control the boundary size on that occasion, but there have been times where I do think the boundaries have been just too short. We've got girls that can clear the ropes quite comfortably now. They don't need to be in too far.
Well, we saw Deandra Dottin doing what she does best yesterday, which was fetch from the trees. Georgia Elwes to continue. It's full and fairly wide, just finds the bottom edge. Doing well scampering through for the ones, but you do want to get Kelly on strike, and that's what they've managed here.
Yeah, Kelly is obviously the recognised batter in this partnership. She's 32 deliveries out there, 22 to her name. She can definitely increase that strike rate in these last 2 overs. Just a conversation between bowler and captain. Might be talking about what Georgia Elwes is looking to bowl and potentially the field that's going to reflect that. There's a change in field, so Ella McCacken is jogging backwards towards the deep cover boundary.
Moves her feet, uses their feet, good work. And that's found the fielder out there, a bit of a misfield. Freya Kemp out on the boundary. She does well to recover. I thought that was going over the rope for a minute.
Yeah, it wasn't a clean pick-up out there, was it, by Kemp? I didn't think she attacked it that well, but deep square leg is always a tricky place to field, just trying to pick up the ball in the first instance.
It's different. It's innovation, we'll call it.
Yeah, it is. I think Elwes is going to be looking to take pace off most of the time, though. But yeah, I like Lucy Hyam trying to be innovative there. Great take by Fulton as well. She's been very tidy behind the stumps throughout this competition, and that was a great take there by the Australian.
Yeah, she's not necessarily fired with the bat, but she has been really good with the gloves. Elwes in again, and she's gone for the innovation again. Lovely little ramp. Fielder down there. She wants to push for a second. They'll just have to settle for one. Well, I think we found Lucy Hyam's signature shot for the day.
Yeah, it's always interesting though when you use that innovation to only get yourself a single. Usually we'd probably more likely see that when we've got short third and short fine up in the ring, but I guess if it's one of Lucy Hyam's strengths, then she wants to go to that.
It's close, yeah. There it is. There's the signal from umpire Sue Redfern. Just a bit too wide. She did have Marie Kelly fishing for that one a bit.
She did, and Sue certainly thought about that decision as well. Took her time to spread her arms out.
Oh, it's in again. And gone for that wide one again. And umpire Sue signals it again. Much quicker that time.
Yeah, I think that one was a little bit wider and a little bit easier to decide.
Now, are we going full and straight? Or are we going wide again, Georgia Elwes? Well, it's clubbed into the onside. It will be just the one. And that equals Marie Kelly's highest score for the tournament this year, 24. Scored that against Sparks early on this season. So she's not really fired like we know she can. But maybe we'll see her bowling left arm, right arm again later. We'll have an ambidextrous bowler. And she looks to swing. And that's a tidy finish from Georgia Elwes. So at the end of 19, Blaze, 1 over to go. 107 for 7.
Yeah, well, they need 13 off this last over if they're going to get towards that 120 mark that I spoke about. Vipers are going to use Mary Taylor to bowl the last over. Georgia Adams has used her, well, I don't want to say frontline bowlers first, but they're asking the youngster here to bowl the last over. I wonder how many Blaze can get off this last one to... Well, it's not just the runs that they get off this last over, is it? It's that momentum going into their bowling innings to start that off as well.
Yeah, and we know how strong their bowling attack is, and we saw the start that Vipers made with the ball. Anya Shrubsole obviously picking up Tammy Beaumont with just the third ball of the game. So if they can have that kind of start, taking momentum from this over, they know how to win, this Blaze team.
Yeah, talk about Blaze knowing how to win this season. But how many times have we seen Vipers in the final, and they've got a very experienced lineup that will be looking to chase these runs down.
It's the lucky orange. That's why I wore my orange scrunchie today, especially. In comes Taylor, and that's very full. And I'll just come through for one. They won't mind that. They don't mind them dealing in ones. As Taylor turns at the top of her mark again. And there's that innovation we've gone for again, Lucy Hyam. That's the third time, and they're going to have to be quick scamper back. And she could be gone here. Umpire Sue shakes her head and says no. That was it was pretty tight at the end. She had to be quick, get her skates on.
Yeah, it was tight, but good dive in the end by Lucy Hyam. She's just going to sort herself out, redress herself maybe. Just sorting her pads out. But yeah, good scampering there by the Blaze. They need to take every run that's on offer here.
That's what we talk about, that positive mindset coming out of this innings and into the next one. They know that they've been pushing the twos, pushing the pressure on the fielders. Mary Taylor continues. And there's a swing. Was there an edge? She's gone. Edge caught behind Lucy Hyam. She went to swing back over the bowler's head. And Nicole Fulton makes no mistake behind the stumps.
No, absolutely right there. Another dismissal to Fulton this year. And fair play to Mary Taylor. Never an easy ask to bowl the last over, especially when you haven't bowled at all during the game so far. We're just going to see the replay there. Hyam just trying to give herself a little bit of room, but Taylor, I think what she's done really well in these first 3 deliveries is she's looking to take the pace off, and you can probably guess that as a batter, especially someone like Hyam who's looking to play those ramp shots, those scoop shots. She needs pace on the ball to be able to get that ball to the boundary, and Taylor outfoxed her there.
Yeah, I mean, welcome to the party. Mary Taylor, you come on to bowl the final over as your first over of the game, and you go for a 1, a 2 and a wicket. Wouldn't mind that, would you?
Easy game.
Yeah, what's all this talk about cricket being difficult? We're all being shown how to do it by the youngsters. Well, it's Kirsty Gordon to face. Well, she's given a bit of a freebie as her first delivery. High full toss. And it just goes for 1. Is it signalled no ball?
No, I think that was alright. I think that was dipping on Gordon there. I think Kelly wanted 2, but I think the right decision by Gordon there. It was well fielded by Smith, and you want Kelly on strike for these last 2 deliveries, surely.
Well, she's given that some welly into the onside, but picked out the fielder. And it'll just be 1. What a noise that made off the bat.
Yeah, crunched that one off the middle of the bat. Last ball then, Kirsty Gordon on strike. Spent a lot of time with Kirsty over in Australia this winter. Got to know her pretty well. I think she has got the scoop and the ramp in her, but I just don't know whether Taylor's going to give her enough pace to go to that option.
Well, she's tried to give it a whack, and they're going to push back for 2, put the pressure on the field. There's a good arm, but they've done well. They scampered back for 2. Well, that closes out the Blaze innings. They finish it 114 for 8 off their 20 overs. It's an innings that's gone across 2 days, but 114, they won't be too disappointed after a bit of a difficult start yesterday. Marie Kelly, she finishes unbeaten on 26, accompanied by her captain on 3. So, the news of the day is that the Vipers, to defend their Charlotte Edwards Cup title, they need 115 from their 20 overs. And we will be back with you after the break in around 10 minutes' time to see if Vipers can chase down 115 to win here at Worcester. During that. Not done comes with me before. That's good. Need some coffee. That's what I need. Oh yeah.
Yes. He's like, right, let's make it. Oh, that's so good. Next time someone's had these, next time. Welcome back to New Road, Worcester for the run chase in the Charlotte Edwards Cup final. The Blaze have been undefeated in all 10 of their completed games this season. 3 of those in the 50 over competition, the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy, and they had a perfect 7 from 7 in the group stages of the Charlotte Edwards Cup. But my goodness me, that is under threat. 115 to win for the Vipers, the defending champions, a team so used to being at the sharp end of competitions and coming through to win them. They are chasing their 4th trophy in 3 and a bit seasons, their 5th trophy in 8, an outcome for them, a very imposing opening pair. Mai Boucher and Danny Wyatt, both of them thrashed half centuries yesterday, putting on 108 for the first wicket at a very good clip that really set them on their way to defeating the underdogs of the Thunder. I'm Michael McDaniels, truly back in the commentary box alongside Sophie Luff for the start of the run chase. And it really is the game within a game here, isn't it, Sophie? They set the game up beautifully, this pair. They were 50 without loss after 6 yesterday against the Thunder. And if they do something similar here, it's hard to see how the Vipers lose.
Yeah, they'll be looking to do something similar, but what I will say, Michael, is today is a new day up against a new team and up against a team that, like you say, haven't lost this season. Kirsty Gordon leading the Blaze out. She's got a lot of bowling options up her sleeve as well in this lineup. They've used a lot of different combinations in the power play, and I'm sure she'll be calling upon many of them to try and get as many wickets as possible. That's the only way that I see Blaze winning this game, is if they take early wickets and continue to take wickets throughout this innings.
Yeah, it is difficult to see them winning the game without bowling the Vipers out or getting very close to doing so. And the Player with the ball in her hand is one that I think you'd have got absolutely no money for guessing. A certain Nadine de Klerk. She has 14 wickets in the competition this season, and your Shrub Sol's excellence across, well, it's not really finals day now, it's on finals days, has taken her up to 13. Lindsay Smith also has 13, but de Klerk remains as she started, the top wicket taker in the competition this season. She's already taken this campaign also the best Rachel Hayhoe Flint trophy figures in the entire history of that competition. 7 for 33 against the Diamonds. I know that was a scorecard that made a heck of a lot of people sit up and take notice, and it will be de Klerk charging in to Maya Boucher, who, for all Danny Wyatt made the higher score of the two, it was actually Boucher who was quicker to her half-century yesterday. She actually talked in an interview with a cricketer in 2020 about wanting to be the next Nat Siver. Well, she's doing a mighty fine job of just being the next Maya Boucher, and she's facing up to de Klerk now, the first ball of the reply. Beautiful from de Klerk. You'd expect nothing less of a bowler who teed up so impressively, and what an impact she's had.
Yeah, she's had a great impact at Blaze, like you say, taking that 7-for in the Rachel Hayhoe really, made her mark, didn't she? And we see there that first delivery, de Klerk getting some nice shape away, and she'll want to get that new ball swinging early. That's definitely a threat of hers.
Slip in play. Just hanging that one outside the off stump, trying to tempt Boucher in.
Yeah, again, some movement there. Not really much carry through to Bryce. She'd take that on the bounce. So I'm not sure whether she's just a little bit too deep. They've obviously got the slip in play, and they want Slip to be able to take those opportunities if they do come.
Little slow ball took the pace off that one de Klerk. Chopped down to mid-on.
Good start here, though, by Blaze. 3 dots. Going to have to create some pressure on these Vipers batters, especially Boucher and Wyatt at the top of the order. They played so well yesterday.
Steps down the track, Boucher meets this on the half volley. Didn't get all of it, but gets just enough to clear the infield. There was a moment there where it looked like it just could be a catching chance for Charlie Dean, but not quite.
Yeah, that ball went higher than it did long, and we saw Boucher strike it so well down the ground yesterday. She was really targeting that sight screen, and she was looking to do the same then.
Opens her shoulders this time, and it's a flat batted cover drive. Very effective shot. It was a little bit of a half volley from de Klerk, a rare bad ball, but my goodness me, it was put away beautifully by Boucher. First boundary of the reply.
Yeah, just a little bit too much whip there from de Klerk, and player of Boucher's quality doesn't miss out on those. It actually looked like it had slowed up a tad, I think, due to the amount of rain that we had yesterday, but still quick enough to get that ball to the rope.
Just played away to point. Just wonder whether you saw the pitch yesterday looked very end of the first 6 without loss. Very hard and fast and flat. Whether maybe it's just through being worn out, through having a full T20 game on it, and then this game as well, both on the same track for those interested. Maybe it's just slowed up a touch. It still looks like a decent pitch to bat on.
Yeah, I think you'd be keen to get out there and bat on it, and Wyatt and Boucher obviously went really well on it yesterday, so I'm sure they were desperate to get back out there and get this Vipers chase underway, and a pretty solid start in that first over for them.
Reminder, of course, as well, that this is a head-to-head that traditionally has always been pretty one-sided. Vipers winning 4 of their 5 Charlotte Edwards Cup games against the Blaze and all the Loughborough Lightning as it was. Until this season, of course, when the Blaze won by 5 wickets with a couple of balls to spare when they met at Derby back on the 29th of May. Vipers were 118 all out that day with 3 balls to spare. Adams top scoring with 31. De Klerk, Bryce and Munro all took 2 wickets each, and then Blaze just about chased it down, led by 49 from Tammy Beaumont. Here's Grace Ballinger with her whippy, dangerous left armers. Does get a lot of swing, but starts that one in the wrong place, so a little freebie.
Yeah, Gordon choosing to go to two seamers that can generate that swing. Obviously, de Klerk bowling the first one, and Grace Ballinger will have bowled a lot of her overs in power play to make sure that she maximises that new ball and can get it swinging early on.
Shot. Didn't need to move, Danny Wyatt. She knew. Boucher was interested in running. Wyatt just stood and admired it, and why not? That is the shot of a batter in form. That is the shot of a batter who smoked 76 off 50 yesterday and has nailed their first ball to the fence today.
Yeah, such a strong area there by Danny Wyatt. She loves to access that part of the ground.
Nice response from Ballinger. Might be a successful one. It's the consolation of the dot. And one thing I was going to ask you about Ballinger, Sophie, is a batter yourself of some distinction. Her run-up, is it a little bit kind of off-putting? You know, it's just keep a real close eye on it. It's a really buccaneering, energetic run-up, but it's quite unorthodox.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is pretty unorthodox, as Grace is going to show us right now.
That's just guided away. I think she meant that, Wyatt. And again, she doesn't move. She knew. So this is imposing signs early on. Worrying signs if you're a Blaze supporter. Two of Danny Wyatt's first three balls have been timed gorgeously to the boundary for four.
Yeah, I can see what Ballinger's trying to do. She's trying to shape the ball back into Wyatt, but just starting it a little bit too wide and just not enough movement there. And I mean, off stump is width to Wyatt, so she's definitely going to put her hands through anything outside off, that's for sure.
Response from Ballinger's to go back of a length. Interesting, her coach Chris Guest said over the winter that she's been looking to add a yard of pace, and there's a feeling that she'll be a real handful with that winter of hard work, and that they're expecting more from her this season. The consensus is from various sources across various teams that she has got significantly quicker, Ballinger, and that's really helped her development. Flicked away, wristily done from Wyatt, straight down the ground. My goodness me, does she look in some touch. A third four in the over for Danny Wyatt, and this is possibly the pick of the bunch.
Yeah, glorious shot there from Wyatt. Full when she's able to put her hands through that, and yeah, Wyatt obviously wants to finish this quickly. We've obviously had a pretty early start here at New Road, and Wyatt probably wants to get back on the road.
Yeah, with a trophy in hand to boot as well, and possibly a second player of the match award of, well, it does feel odd calling it finals day now. I think it has to sort of become finals days. Short, and this is going to be more runs for Wyatt. It's going to be another four for Wyatt. There is nobody behind square on the leg side at all. That was not really the ball for that field from Ballinger, but all credit to Danny Wyatt. Absolutely ruthless. She takes 17 off Ballinger's over, 16 off her bat. And early doors, it is the Vipers who are in cruise control.
Yeah, these two have, well, picked up where they left off yesterday. Ballinger changing the field there. She'd got hit back over her head and changed the field, so long on went out and square leg came up into the ring, and that just wasn't the length to bowl to someone of Danny Wyatt's class. Seeing it like a beach ball out there. 16 from just the 6 deliveries in that over.
Desperately need something from de Klerk here, the Blaze, to keep this extraordinary season going for them in this competition. Hurdled away by Boucher. He's done the absolutely correct and sensible thing. Just give Wyatt the strike. Danny Wyatt, who started this weekend outside the top 10 for top run scorers in this competition, and now she's surging towards the number 1 spot. She has 239 and counting. She's gone past Adams, and Bryony Smith of the South East Stars is being rapidly hunted down. White is 17 behind her. Short, and was onto it so quickly, Wyatt. That is a pull shot that has gone through mid-on, which tells you all you need to know. She has faced 7 balls. She's hit 5 of them to the fence.
Yeah, as you can see here, Wyatt picks up the length so quickly. Makes her such a dangerous player to bowl at, and yeah, like you say, pulling the ball.
Busting her field, putting out cover point you're referring to in the previous over. That is one of Danny White's favourite areas to access. The third has come up. The 2 she's got out, a deep backward square leg and deep extra cover that's right in front of our commentary position. Shorter, and again just looks like she has so much time, Wyatt. Just paddles it round the corner. We'll have to settle for 1.
Players need a wicket here. They need to break this partnership as quickly as possible. Otherwise, I really fear that the game is going to just run away from them. Boucher, just a 7 to her name.
Again gets the single, and it's absolutely the right thing for Boucher to initially look to do. Just let Wyatt face as many of these power play deliveries, easy for me to say, as possible.
Yeah, they're almost playing a different hand today, these two. Yesterday it was Boucher that sort of got off to a flyer, and Wyatt just enabled herself to get herself going with singles and 2s.
That's a lovely looking square drive from Wyatt, but they do have that sweeper. Deep extra cover who makes the commute round to her left. That is the end of another successful over of, well, more than steady accumulation for the Vipers, who are 32 without loss after 3, looking to add yet more trophies to their extensive tally. Of course, they won the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy in 2020 and 2021, both of those against the Diamonds, who ended up beating them in the final of that competition last season. And then, of course, once upon a time, KSL champions in the first season of 2016 against the Storm, runners-up in 2017 and 2019 when Storm got their revenge a couple of times. And that sort of underlines the point, doesn't it, Sophie? This group, you know, obviously not all of those players have been with them the whole time, but this is their 8th final in 8 seasons. They're just not intimidated by a stage like this.
No, they just know how to go about things, don't they? And obviously Charlotte Edwards has been part of that group right from the start. First as a player in those KSL days, and now obviously leading them in the coaching department.
And just come off, unsurprisingly, having conceded 17, and it's up to if she can tighten things up or take a wicket. Hit hard down the ground. Well, Wyatt's played some brilliant shots, but that might be the best of the lot from Maya Boucher. The mighty Bouche at her brilliant best.
Yeah, she did it yesterday and she's doing it again today. Hitting that sight screen movement there for Catherine Bryce, but too full and Boucher can get her hands through that.
There's movement for the umpire as well, who thankfully managed to get out of the way in time, untroubled.
I'm surprised Kirsty Gordon has gone to Catherine Bryce. She's obviously a very good bowler in her own right, but I think Boucher wants pace on the ball, and I think she's got a few spin-up options up her sleeve as Gordon, and I'm surprised she didn't bring herself on into the attack, actually.
She's got long on and deep mid-wicket out. Back Boucher, and that's managed to beat the fielder at cover point. That's 4 more. So worryingly for the Blaze, it's now Boucher getting into her groove as well. Consecutive boundaries for Maya Boucher.
Yeah, it's a brilliant shot there from Boucher. Just lets the ball come so close to her and negates the movement of Bryce. She lets that ball swing and then strikes it right underneath her eyes and can pierce that offside and, yeah, finds the boundary with ease.
Forced into a more defensive shot that time. You can see already that required run rate is sat at around 4.5. Shorter and deliberately done from Boucher. Knew there was no fielder behind score on the offside. All she needed was a little dab, a little touch, a little graze on it, and she got exactly that. A third 4 in the over, and it really is one-way traffic right now.
Yeah, again, just so much skill in that shot from Boucher. Knows the field, knows what Bryce is trying to do, and lets that ball come to her and plays it so late she can just use the pace of Bryce to run it down to that third-man region. You know, Bryce hasn't got a whole heap of pace, but this outfield has definitely got pace that enables it to get to the rope pretty quickly.
Comes down the track this time, Boucher. What a chance that was for the Blaze to get the breakthrough. Couldn't quite hold on in the covers. Didn't really time it, Boucher, and will feel like she's got a bit of fortune there at the end of the fourth. I'm not able to take the sort of half opportunity that came her way. And at this point, after a few more words from Sophie Love, with the Vipers in complete control of the contest, the defending champions 45 without loss after 4. After Sophie, it will be Georgie Heath.
Yeah, missed opportunity there for the Blaze and for Lucy Hyam. I think it was in there at extra cover. A very tough chance diving away. Don't know if you saw closely on the screen there, but she has got a couple of fingers taped together. She certainly did the other day when Western Storm played the Blaze. Obviously carrying a little bit of a knock there, as so many cricketers do these days. And we're going to see Sarah Glenn bowling in the power play here. Vipers 45 without loss.
Yeah, I like seeing the introduction of Glenn, a bit of turn. We saw they were using that pace so well, and they had to try and change it up somehow. The Blaze, so they've turned to one of the big guns released by England this weekend to take on her fellow England teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. Blaze will need a miracle spell here from Glenn, but she's certainly capable of them, that's for sure. Just very good wicket taker, and yeah, Blaze need her to step up here.
Well, she's keeping them quiet from the off. It's a nice start from her, just defended back by Wyatt. Just got to slow this run rate down. Build up the dots, put that pressure back on, slow the run rate down, make them try and push it back up again and make the mistake. I think that's what they're going to have to do at the moment. Oh, Danny Wyatt could just hit it for another boundary. She's in the mood.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many batters that don't want to try and find the boundary after a couple of dot balls, and we saw Wyatt sweep very well yesterday. It's not a preferred option of hers. And Hyam in the game again now. I'm not sure whether she got any hand on that. Struck firmly by Wyatt, and, well, just a common theme throughout this innings, Georgie, that she's just finding the boundary a regular occurrence.
Oh, it's been the last 48 hours, really, hasn't it? That's nicely played. That's really nicely played. And that's going to be back-to-back boundaries for Danny Wyatt.
Yeah, Wyatt racing away here. Blaze just can't stop the run flow here. Glenn started so well in this over, creating a little bit of pressure, a couple of dot balls, but a couple of boundaries, and the pressure is back on the England bowler here.
Well, for those watching and listening, even those who are Blaze fans, is that giving a bit more flight? Those who are Blaze fans can't help but watch Danny Wyatt in this kind of form. You know, the English Blaze fans and think this is just what we want to see ahead of an Ashes summer. And that closes out the 5th over. Vipers 54 without loss.
Yeah, I mean, it's great if you're a neutral, isn't it? You just want to continue to see these two batting, especially if you're a Vipers fan. Blaze going to have to pick up a couple of wickets quickly, Georgie. Otherwise, like I said, this game is just going to race away from them. And I think the skipper herself is going to take responsibility here. Looks like it's going to be Kirsty Gordon into the attack.
Yeah, well, like we said, they're going to have to change it up a bit. It wasn't working with that pace up top, and we're going to have to see what they can do to get through these two. Danny Wyatt, I mean, she's going at more than 2 a ball at the moment. She's 31 off just 15 deliveries. Run rate almost up at 11 at the moment. We're still inside the power play. Still another over of the power play to go. And that's a lovely touch from Maya Bouchier.
Yeah, again, I'm heaping a lot of praise on these two, but that's what they did so well yesterday. Was yes, they struck boundaries and put the bad balls away, but it was the bits that they did in between that. They're running between the wickets, the way they were able to rotate strike, just made it so hard for Thunder yesterday, and it's looking pretty tricky out there for Blaze at this moment in time.
Well, it's up in the air. Fielder thought she was in with a chance for a minute. It's Tammy Beaumont. She's fielded on the bounce. It seemed to just hang for a little bit, but we know how quick Tammy Beaumont is, and if she can't get to that, no one can.
Yeah, they're always really tricky ones to judge, and that ball's in the air for so long.
So you don't mind just the ones at the moment. They're rotating the strike, as you were saying, Sophie, so well, these two, but they're also taking advantage and hitting those boundaries. So they're doing well. It's just, I think the Blaze are going to have to come up with something magic to break this, and that is just delightful. Doesn't even set off for a run.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple times from Danny Wyatt this innings, striking the ball so beautifully, so powerfully that, yeah, she knows as soon as she hits that, that's racing away to the fence. There's nothing the fielders can do about that one.
Well, Danny Wyatt almost seems like she's got lunch plans. She's not hanging about here. Got the roast in the oven. A bit hot for a roast out today. Maybe the barbecue's getting hot.
Yeah, I reckon a barbecue would be a better option on a day like today.
Is that going to be a wide down the leg side? I think she's just got away with one there. And that closes out the power play. End of 6 overs. The Vipers are racing along at 61 without loss. And that is Josie Grove's mum. I have never seen a better supporter than Josie Grove's mum. I saw her at the Under-19 World Cup this year. And I would have loved to put a step counter on her, because the 2-step didn't stop for 10 days.
Looks like she's wearing a orange cape as well there.
It'll be homemade.
Very impressive.
Yep, she got craft sessions going in their hotel, making England foam fingers but out of paper. And she did a lot of dancing, and it was very, very hot.
And how does Josie feel about her mum getting so much coverage with the camera? I did see her at a couple of England and Blaze have got to take the attacking option. They only had 3 fielders out there to Danny Wyatt. Even though they were out of power play, they can't really afford 4 out of the ring, and Bouchier and Wyatt just to milk them for singles. So I do like the attacking nature of Kirsty Gordon as skipper here.
Yeah, they're just going to jog through for one there. No need to put themselves under any pressure.
Really tricky, isn't it? Blaze obviously haven't got that breakthrough so far. That run rate required, only 3.5 and over now. Glennie just ringing the changes in the field as well.
Fuller, flighted from Glenn. And that's a very rare dot ball.
Yeah, I need a few more of those, and, well, I prefer a W in that over column.
Well, there you go. There it is. Sophie Luff, your wish is Sarah Glenn's command. And she's bowled as she tries to swing through it. Maya Boucher, she's got to go for a well-earned 25 off 20.
Yeah, pretty simple there from Glennie, keeping the stumps in play. You miss, she's going to hit, and that's the end of Boucher. She's gone for a well-played 25. And the new batter to the crease is the very impressive Ella McCacken.
Well, they'll be pleased with that one. They finally made the breakthrough. That partnership, the pair, just phenomenal up top. They scored 108 yesterday. But that's just clipped the top of her leg stump. That's got some turn on it. Sarah Glenn, quite often in that England setup, she almost flies under the radar a little bit because we talk so often about Sophie Eccleston as the star spinner. But Sarah Glenn, she can really make things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Glennie is a wicket taker in her own right, and she's got one to her name already. She'll be hoping for a few more, as will all those Blaze fans, in particular Josie Groves' mum, who was probably dancing a little bit more excitedly then when they got the wicket. She's still up on her feet now that we can see from a distance. It's good endurance there as well. Do you think? I didn't spot her in the crowd yesterday, but I mean she only had 10 overs of the Blaze innings yesterday to be up and about dancing.
Yeah, Sarah Glenn, she's finding a rhythm here. Well, I think yesterday, I don't think it'd be dancing, it would have been swimming, really. End of 7. Vipers 67 for 1. Successful over from Sarah Glenn. Well, the reason for the umbrellas today is the sunshine. Nice to see young kids in watching. Well, it's been quite a display so far, hasn't it? From Danny Wyatt in particular. But what a time for her to find this for me, Luffy.
Yeah, great time for Danny Wyatt to step up, really. She's a big game player, isn't she, Wyatt? She'll have played in many finals days before, and she knows what they're all about. And the way that she's batted, well, this weekend now that we're into day 2 of the finals day, she's just struck it beautifully from ball 1 and just looks so dominant out there.
Gordon comes in for her second, and Wyatt clubs it into the onside. They'll just come through for the 1. Well, 78 yesterday, Danny Wyatt, 42 today. It's not a bad weekend out, is it?
No, it's a pretty good return. And Ella McCacken's on strike now. I think Blaze are going to have to really squeeze her. Hopefully a few more fielders come into the ring and they can try and create a few dots, string a few dots together, create some pressure on the new Vipers batter.
It's found the edge, and it's fielder in pursuit, and they're going to come back for the second. So McCacken off the mark with a 2.
Yeah, from side on there, looked like Gordon just got a little bit of extra bounce on that delivery, and it was actually well played by McCacken in the end.
Shorter delivery, it's well fielded by Georgie Boyce. Yes, I'm doing the maths, and yes, I am using my fingers and thumbs. Danny Wyatt scored 120 runs so far this weekend. Full and flighted from Gordon, just getting the squeeze back on a little bit.
Yeah, and this is what they've got to do to McCacken. They have to squeeze the new batter, try and create something here, the Blaze.
It's a nice solid looking defence, isn't it?
It was, yeah. At the same time, McCacken, she'll know that she's got plenty of time out there, and Wyatt's going very well at the other end. All she needs to do is get Wyatt back on strike, really.
And that will be just that. Oh no, it's the end of the over. So, the end of 8 overs. Vipers very much in the driving seat, 71 for 1.
Yeah, good decision there from Kirsty Gordon to keep herself on. And as we're looking at the worm here, obviously it's a lot of orange on that worm, isn't it,
There's
Georgie?
there's some orange wiggly worms, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the clearest to see, but obviously one line is way above the other, and that is of the Vipers in this run chase. I think it's going to be Glenn again, and I think they're going to have to just continue with pace off here. It does seem that they've been able to generate, obviously, that wicket of Boucher in Glennie's last over, but being able to stem the run flow just a touch as well with pace off the ball.
Yeah, well, they need another breakthrough. Preferably, I mean, it's pretty obvious to say, they need rid of Danny Wyatt. She's the destructive batter out there at the moment. I mean, they've got pretty good line-up with the bat, haven't they? They bat quite deep, the Vipers, but you can get rid of Danny Wyatt. They might just feel that they could get back in this. She's gone for the reverse sweep, McCacken. Not quite timed it. That brings Danny Wyatt back on strike. 42 from 22. It's not a bad day out so far for her. She'll obviously want to be out there and see it through. That target just 115. That's well dug out. Full again from Glenn. Struggling to get her away, which would be just what she wants at the moment. Get the pressure back on.
Yeah, as you see, McCacken back on strike now. A lot more fielders into that inner ring.
That's well played. Sarah Glenn, hand on her head. She thought she might have got it through there, or just come through for the one. So do you think it's lucky, the orange, perhaps? Are we going to see Western Storm in orange next year, or is that just the colour of the year?
Yeah, it looks like it's just the colour of the year, doesn't it? No, I don't think we've got any links to orange in any capacity, Georgie.
Have you ever seen cider's a bit orange, isn't it? It's tenuous links.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where the green came from, to be honest. I do remember in the first year of the KSL, we were in all green, and yeah, it wasn't the best look in the world.
That's well placed by Danny Wyatt, and it's quick out there, and it's raced away. She's picked up another boundary. She moves on to 47. And the Vipers are racing along. The end of 9 overs. They're 78 for 1.
Yeah, just 37 to win now for the Vipers. Looking at the scoreboard ahead of me, just see how far ahead Vipers are. When DLS is always a good indication. Hopefully there's no more rain around, but DLS is always a good indication in a run chase around where you should be. It's currently sitting at 45, and Vipers are well ahead at that.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at that Manhattan, and as I look at it on our screen, I can see the cathedral looming in the background. It was like a reflection of it, you know, the nice tall Manhattans of the Vipers' innings, and in the background that resplendent cathedral. Yesterday was like something like a sci-fi movie as we watched the darkness. First we heard the rumble and everyone sort of looked up, and then it just engulfed the entire cathedral, and then the ground as Gordon starts her third. And it really was quite something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was it was a glorious day up until those dark clouds appeared behind the cathedral, and it was the wind as well. It was almost like we were going to come off for the wind to start with, and I was like, I can't do that. Can't come off for wind. And then, yeah, you just knew that the heavens were going to open, and
well, that's found the edge. When it's your day, it's your day. Fielder, good chase. Not quite as quick out there as it might be. Obviously, saw a lot of water yesterday, but as we say, really great work. Again, shout out to the groundsmen, the groundswomen, the grounds warriors. Yeah, it was a bit of a battle, wasn't it? They had to be warriors against the elements.
yeah, they had to work really hard to get those covers on, and there was just so much water line on the outfield as well. I did feel for them.
Likes this reverse sweep, Ella McCacken. That brings Wyatt back on strike. She could move to her 50 in the one blow here, and I wouldn't really be surprised. As you can see, umpire Anna Harris. The dynamic duo somewhat, this two, aren't they? The two umpires out there today, Anna Harris and Sue Redfern. Little Batman and Robin-esque. And that's up in the air, and it's over the two fielders. Danny Wyatt will pick up 2, and she moves on to 49.
Yeah, this is what we saw from Wyatt yesterday. A lot of teams trying to go with square leg up and trying to force her to sweep because it's not a preferred option of hers. She's so strong down the ground, so strong through that cover point region that they need to have square leg up in the ring. And Wyatt's ridden her luck a little bit over square leg there, but gets a couple.
Well, she's got lucky again there. I just think she's got some bat on it. And she picks up 1. She moves on to 50, and that's Danny Wyatt. What a performance from her this weekend, and today she picks up 50 in just 27 deliveries. She's guiding this Vipers team with absolute ease. She's looked phenomenal at all parts, and what a weekend it has been for the Vipers opener. That's nicely played by McCacken. Good running as well from these two. Well, that is the end of 10 overs. Vipers halfway through the chase and very much more than halfway through the runs required. They move on to 85 for 1. They need just 30 more for victory and to defend their Charlotte Edwards trophy. And I will slide elegantly out to the right as Michael McCann comes to join Sophie Luff.
Thanks, Georgie. Yeah, there wasn't much elegant sliding out of the seats yesterday, I must admit, for myself, Ailish Cranston and Joe Gardner. It was a bit of a challenge getting out of this left-hand side, but Georgie and Michael are able to swap over pretty comfortably over there. We're going to see a change of bowler. It's going to be South African international de Klerk back into the attack. Gordon, I guess, going back to her trump card. They need wickets here, Blaze, and she'll be hoping that South African international is the answer to that.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, turning back to the top wicket taker in the tournament, which it just seems the extremely obvious thing to do. But even for de Klerk, this is extremely tough. Lovely start, though. It's been a massive part of this Blaze story. We do have to put in context as well, regardless of whether they win or lose this final. They've had a heck of a run. They won 8 games in the Charlotte Edwards Cup and the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy put together as Loughborough Lightning across 3 seasons before this campaign. Worked away by McCacken, who will get into double figures, and that is good scamperage. That will get them 2.
Yeah, good running by this pair. Yeah, like you say, Michael, really interesting. They've sort of transformed themselves in terms of the results as well, having gone from Loughborough Lightning to the Blaze. They were bottom in both their groups in the 2021 and 2022 season. In 2021, they lost all of their group games.
Just took the pace off a bit, guided down to 3rd for 1.
And in 2022, they were bottom of Group B, losing all but 1. So yeah, to come into this final 7 from 7, 4 games as well with bonus point wins to get them to the top of the table. It's an uphill struggle for them now, though, I feel.
Yeah, they finished 10 points clear of the Vipers, and they beat them, albeit in a pretty close finish when these two met. It was only the first time they'd ever actually managed to beat them in T20 cricket. They'd lost all of the previous 4 before that, a couple of meetings in 2021, a couple last year as well. Miscued. And given! It's out! Wyatt's gone for 50 off 27 balls. Might have just kept a bit low. And Nadine de Klerk, the top wicket taker in this tournament this season, has her 15th. Yep, it did. Cannon into the top of the pad and given.
Yeah, a real shame there for Wyatt, who has played magnificently over this finals day. Across the 2 days, she's given herself and her team a fantastic platform here. It looks like it's going to be the skipper, Georgia Adams, and she'll be wanting to come in and get her team over the line.
What a time to come in as the captain. Here's another look at that from de Klerk. Yeah, you'll have to accept my apologies for the initial reaction. We are not quite straight on, sort of a deep cover point for this over, and I initially thought she might have chopped it onto her pad, Wyatt, but absolutely not. Is that confirmed? So here comes Adams. Worth saying as well that Wyatt, I don't think you actually get a purple cap. Do you get anything of a top run scorer of the Charlotte Adams Cup? But she's going to take that title. She has 273 now. She's gone past Bryony Smith of the South East Stars, who was top coming into start of proceedings yesterday morning. 17 clear of her.
Yeah, I don't think you get anything for being top run scorer, but there's definitely player of the competition, I'm sure.
In the running for that is Adams avoids the dreaded first baller, and as you alluded to, Sophie Luff alongside me, we'll be eyeing up that classic little captain's innings, nice little 15 not out, the boundary to win it, the celebrations, everything else. And every chance she delivers on that promise. Nice looking shot from Adams. Well, that is the shot of a batter in form. A square drive through cover point to get off the mark. That is a thing of beauty. 92 for 2 at the end of the 11th.
Yeah, great timing there from Georgia Adams. Just using the pace of de Klerk, using the pace of this outfield. It didn't hit that almost. Just lent on it and it's raced away here at New Road. Vipers are closing in on that total. Just 23 to win here. And like you say, Georgia Adams will be desperate to be out there at the end. It's not really a better feeling in cricket than making sure that you get your team over the line. And yeah, I'm sure the celebrations, if they do win and they do get over the line, will be jubilant for the Vipers today. 23
to win off 54. Adams, he top scored with 31 for the Vipers when these sides met earlier on in the season. What has been, of course, an extended season. Lots to be positive about with this expanded regional programme. This competition now seeing everybody play each other once. That wasn't the case last season. There's rightly a consensus that that's a bit of a fairer way to go about things. And then 14 Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy games as Hyam starts a new over and gets worked away for 1. So those Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy games being double round robin means suddenly you've got 21 games. 8 more than last summer, which I imagine is a lot of fun, a lot of cricket in the calendar.
Yeah, that's what you want as a professional player, isn't it? You want to be playing as much cricket as possible. I think over the last couple of years we've probably felt that we've been on the training park way too much.
Just turned away. And I guess it's that fixture list, in a way, almost catching up or keeping up with the fact that with that £250,000 or so to be spread around in that salary pool, we've got more than 100 professional cricketers in England now. What a thing to say.
Yeah, brilliant thing to say, isn't it? The game is, it's just rocketed over the last couple of years.
Oh, beautifully bowled from Hyam, who gets the breakthrough, lures McCacken in. That is a classic spinner's dismissal. Felton behind the stumps with the fast, hard hands, 94 for 4.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that again. Just looked like it bounced a little bit more, this one. It's a good take by Sarah Bryce, who actually, up until this point, hadn't had any dismissals in the competition, which I find remarkable, actually, for a wicket keeper. You would think that they would be in the game with stumpings and, batters looking to use their feet and play expansively. So that did really surprise me. But she did a tidy job there, and that's the end of Ella McCacken.
Yeah, McCacken gone for 13. Thank you for gently correcting me for mixing up the wicket keepers in orange.
Easy mistake to make. Everyone is wearing orange out there, Michael.
Yeah, there was also a brilliant little interaction earlier on, yesterday, which I think Tammy Beaumont will feel like she's got the right side of, as the prodigiously talented youngster Freya Kemp comes out to try and finish the game off with her skipper, where Beaumont was getting a little bit very, very gentle sort of chat from some Vipers supporters, and she just said with a big smile on her face, the kind of player that's totally at ease and comfortable with a day like this, of course, has played in so many big occasions for her country, just said there's only one team in orange and walked off, and everybody had a good laugh. And well, in the battle of the different slight hues of orange, and he's been somewhat one-sided so far. So here's Kemp, second youngest England player to hit a half century in T20I cricket. Not the worst player to bring in when you're trying to get things done in a hurry. Facing up to Hyam. Nicely bowled from Hyam. Wins the moral battle, but not on the scoreboard as such, because Kemp is off the mark.
Yeah, tough chance there, but was a chance nonetheless. Freya Kemp has obviously been playing for Vipers in the last few games as just a batter. Managing a back injury, I think it was. Be great to see her back bowling at some point in the near future, I hope.
Nicely played with a straight bat from Adams. Yeah, she's a big part of their campaign last season on both fronts, was the top wicket taker of any seamer for them in T20 cricket. Just pushed away by Adams. Will keep the strike. 96 for 3 off 12. Just 19 to win. Of course, so much women's cricket on the horizon. A bonanza of women's cricket. I know we're sort of pushing up towards 100,000 tickets sold right across the Women's Ashes, which gets going on the 22nd at Trent Bridge. That rarest of beasts with a 5-day test. There has been one on the 12th, 16th and 18th. There are tickets available. They're going like the proverbial hotcakes. And again, how good is that to say, and how much does that demonstrate how things have changed, even across your career, Sophie Love?
Yeah, it's changed massively, and a really exciting summer ahead. Like you say, we've obviously had plenty of cricket so far, but there's much more to come. And yeah, the way that they've sort of advertised the Ashes together, the men obviously get things started a little bit earlier as well. But yeah, I do like the multi-format system in the Women's Ashes. I think it's all to play for, and yeah, I'm really intrigued as to how it's going to go as well. Australia obviously missing Meg Lanning as well. It's a big blow for them. It's an opportunity for England to try and change their fortunes in the Ashes series.
Here's Sophie Munro. Cut away straight at point. Munro, who at the very least, if they are to lose here, will want to ruin a few batting averages if she can in revenge, having got a golden duck herself earlier on in the piece.
Yeah, and she's certainly got the skills to do that as a tall, fast bowler.
Left alone outside the off stump. Munro, who was spotted bowling in the Woodhead Hall as a 15-year-old, and Chris Guest said that he saw something of a special talent in her. Again, one of those kind of young players at 21 who's really benefiting from the professional era.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great opportunity for these youngsters to sign professional at such a tender age now, and I guess just gain so much, one, experience of just being out there and playing alongside some brilliant players, playing against brilliant players, but just the infrastructure around the game now, the support staff that these regional teams have got in place. You know, I think we do say as sort of female cricketers we're really lucky and very grateful for the opportunities. But I think, you know, there is an element of hard work that goes in behind the scenes as well.
Goes deeper in her crease this time, Adams, just trying to manoeuvre something. Picks out the sweeper at cover to end the run of dots.
I think just on the upcoming Ashes series as well, I think the way that the domestic structure is developed now, I genuinely feel like, even though there's those England centrally contracted players, I do feel like if you have, you know, good campaigns and put in performances at regional domestic level, you will get recognised by England. And I think it will be really interesting to see their squads, both at the Test match and white ball games, who they do put in the mix. I don't think they will just stick with those England centrally contracted players now. I think if you are performing domestically, then there'll be opportunities there, which is really exciting to see those girls step up.
Resolute block from Kemp. Yeah, and I guess that's where you'd hope all those new professional contracts, again, having 21 regional games across the two formats at the group stages, not including the final stage, it just gives so much more, a wider scope of opportunity for different players to put their hands up and say, actually, I've got to be in the mix here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think 50 over cricket as well, obviously doubling the amount of Rachel Hayhoe Flint games. I think it would be easier to sort of double the shortest format. I like that they doubled the 50 over competition. It's where you really learn your skill and craft as a batter and a bowler.
It's cued, but they're going to quickly run singles. So it's an excellent over from Munro all told. Conceded just 2 from it, and at the end of the 13th, 98 for 3. Just steadily working their way towards victory. 17 needed to win now off that last 7. And of course the question always inevitably comes up when talking about this, particularly around women's cricket. Where do you sort of sit on potential multi-day kind of stuff at regional level?
I think it's just where it would come into the schedule for me and how much appetite there is from players. I think players of my sort of era would be, really keen for it. I don't know, really. I haven't really asked any of the younger players in the dressing room. It would be interesting to see their view on multi-day cricket, I guess. And I know they tried to do some North East South games at the very start of the year, sort of washed out because of the poor weather. But yeah, I think it would be interesting to see the appetite from the younger players on the circuit, because a lot of them these days, they're brought up on white ball cricket, T20. The formats are getting shorter and shorter, really, in the way that the game's developed.
Yeah, it's sort of a summer that oscillates between 50 over cricket and T20, of course, with 100 in August as well. He's high. I'm starting her second. Kemp with the block. Steps down the track, meets this on the half volley and absolutely belts that for 6. Kaplunk has had a little look here, Kemp, and now decided from her 5th ball, that's going the distance, and go the distance it does.
That's glorious from Freya Kemp there. Shot of the day for me. She's got long levers and she used them beautifully there. Didn't try and overhit it, just held her shape and straight down the ground. That was a brilliant shot by the youngster.
Full toss smashed away. This could be another boundary. It is another boundary. They're finishing this in a hurry. It's down to single digits in terms of runs needed.
Yeah, Kemp not hanging around, and no surprise with that delivery. It got what it deserved, unfortunately. Just over pitching there. Lucy Hyam, full toss, and Kemp didn't miss out.
I'm just having a chat with Gordon. How frustrating will this be for the Blaze? They've only been beaten by the rain up to this point this season. Straight at cover. And yet their first defeat will come in the game that matters most.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it, when you come into a final unbeaten all season, but counts for nothing. This is the game that matters.
Short cut away. That will be one more, so they are within 1 hit now. Yeah, the East Midlands region has reached a finals day before, but just to give you some context as to what a big achievement this has been from the Blaze, that was back in 2018. Loughborough Lightning in the old KSL days, they lost the final against the Surrey Stars.
Yeah, I remember that final actually. I think Lizelle Lee got 100 for Surrey Stars. We unfortunately lost to Surrey in the semi-final that day. Wasn't to be our year, Western Storm.
Yeah, I didn't want to remind you. Single, just working their way towards victory. $110 for 3 off 14. So, on the verge of just dotting the I's and crossing the T's in terms of admin at this point. The Southern Vipers, powered by another 50 from Danny White, another big partnership from Bouchier and Wyatt. The two biggest partnerships that the Vipers have had across their 9 games in this competition this season have been the 2 opening stands this weekend. That really is delivering when you need it most. And really, I think when we look back on this, without meaning to simplify the 2 games down too much, that will be seen as pivotal.
Yeah, they've just done it so well this weekend. I say this weekend because we're obviously into the second day here.
Here's Munro. Adams trying to finish it. She won't quite finish it here, but the scores are tied. Georgia Adams now has the chance to hit the winning runs for her team as the skipper.
Yeah, would be fitting. Not a convincing shot there by Adams, but she'll take them nonetheless. Vipers will not care how they get this this last run. And yeah, Georgia Adams, like you say, has got the opportunity to finish the job for her team and walk off victorious.
1 to win for the Vipers, the defending champions. And they'll get it. Georgia Adams, the captain, takes them home. It is a comfortable win in the final, and yet again, it is the Southern Vipers who have their name on the Charlotte Edwards Cup. The defending champions. It is their 4th trophy in the last 3 and a bit seasons of regional cricket. A 5th trophy across their last 8. They're so well known for turning up and delivering when needed most. Not the cleanest of blows to finish it off. Not that they'll care. Off the bottom edge of Adams's bat. And she takes them home to win this game by 34 balls and come through finals day. They saw off Thunder yesterday. And now they have inflicted Blaze's first defeat of the season across any competition, 20 over or 50 over cricket. The deserved champions and winners yet again of the Charlotte Edwards Cup for 2023. It's the Southern Vipers. And quite frankly, Sophie Luff alongside me, they just continued, regardless of that rain delay, they continued to dominate that game right from the first moment today when Charlie Dean came on and finished that over by not conceding another run.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. They were obviously the team in pole position at the end of yesterday, and the way that they started with the ball this morning is what we know you get from the Vipers. You know they've got a very good bowling unit, and I did like how Georgia Adams used her sort of frontline bowlers first and foremost, trying to get into that Blaze lower order as quickly as possible, and it certainly did the trick. Blaze only getting up to 114, and on this wicket and this quick outfield, it was never going to be enough, was it?
Yeah, there was always that thought of the nerves of chasing in a final, but when you've got a team who's been in this many finals, that almost becomes a bit irrelevant. Their 8th final in 8 years, and winning 5 of them, now having seen things home pretty comfortably. Will be post-match presentations to follow, as well as player of the match too. One would think that the likes of Anya Shrubsole would have to be right up there. Of course, Danny Wyatt with that 50, but Shrubsole's wickets at the top. You know, I mentioned the opening partnership, but it was the destruction that was wreaked to leave the mere chase of 115 to win.
Yeah, I think it was the Vipers bowlers that have made this victory so easy. You mentioned Wyatt there. She played a crucial knock and, I mean, took the game away from Blaze, but it was the bowling effort that put them in this strong position. You know, when you're only chasing 114 as well, the bowlers have to take credit for me.
Yeah, they do, and this was a track.
Cider's a bit orange, isn't it? That's me. It's
Yeah, I need a few more of those, and, well, I'd prefer a W in that over column.
Well, there you go. There it is. Sophie Luff, your wish is Sarah Glenn's command. And she's bold as she tries to swing through it. Maya Boucher, she's got to go for a well-earned 25 off 20.
Yeah, pretty simple there from Glennie, keeping the stumps in play. You miss, she's going to hit, and that's the end of Boucher. She's gone for a well-played 25. And the new batter to the crease is the very impressive Ella McCacken.
Well, they'll be pleased with that one. They finally made the breakthrough. That partnership, the pair, just phenomenal up top. They scored 108 yesterday. But that's just clipped the top of her leg stump. That's got some turn on it. Sarah Glenn, quite often in that England setup, she almost flies under the radar a little bit because we talk so often about Sophie Eccleston as the star spinner. But Sarah Glenn, she can really make things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Glennie is a wicket taker in her own right, and yeah, she's got one to her name already. She'll be hoping for a few more, as will all those Blaze fans, in particular Josie Groves' mum, who was probably dancing a little bit more excitedly then when they got the wicket. She's still up on her feet now that we can see from a distance. That's good endurance there as well. Do you think? I didn't spot her in the crowd yesterday, but I mean, she only had 10 overs of the Blaze innings yesterday to be up and about dancing.
Yeah, Sarah Glenn, she's finding her rhythm here. Well, I think yesterday, I don't think it'd be dancing. It would have been swimming, really. End of 7. Vipers 67 for 1. Successful over from Sarah Glenn. Well, the reason for the umbrellas today is the sunshine. Nice to see young kids in watching. I mean, it's been quite a display so far, hasn't it, from Danny Wyatt in particular. But what a time for her to find this form, eh, Luffy?
Yeah, great time for Danny Wyatt to step up, really. She's a big game player, isn't she, Wyatt? She'll have played in many finals days before, and she knows what they're all about. And yeah, the way that she's batted, well, this weekend now that we're into day 2 of the finals day, yeah, she's just struck it beautifully from ball 1 and just looks so dominant out there.
Gordon comes in for her second, and Wyatt lobs it into the onside. They'll just come through for the 1. Well, 78 yesterday, Danny Wyatt, 42 today. It's not a bad weekend out, is it?
No, it's a pretty good return. Ella McCacken's on strike now. I think Blaze are going to have to really squeeze her. Hopefully a few more fielders come into the ring and they can try and create a few dots, string a few dots together, create some pressure on the new Vipers batter.
It's found the edge, and it's fielder in pursuit, and they're going to come back for the second. So McCacken off the mark with a 2.
Yeah, from side on there, looked like Gordon just got a little bit of extra bounce on that delivery, and it was actually well played by McCacken in the end.
It's shorter delivery, and it's well fielded by Georgie Boyce. Yes, I'm doing the maths, and yes, I am using my fingers and thumbs. Danny Wyatt scored 120 runs so far this weekend. Full and flighted from Gordon, just getting the squeeze back on a little bit.
Yeah, and this is what they've got to do to McCacken. They have to squeeze the new batter, try and create something here, the Blaze.
It's a nice solid looking defence, isn't it?
It was, yeah. At the same time, McCacken, she'll know that she's got plenty of time out there, and Wyatt's going very well at the other end. All she needs to do is get Wyatt back on strike, really.
And that will be just that. Oh no, it's the end of the over. So, the end of 8 overs. Vipers very much in the driving seat, 71 for 1.
Yeah, good decision there from Kirsty Gordon to keep herself on. And as we're looking at the worm here, obviously there's a lot of orange on that worm, isn't it, Georgie?
There's some orange wiggly worms, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the clearest to see, but obviously one line is way above the other, and that is of the Vipers in this run chase. I think it's going to be Glenn again, and I think they're going to have to just continue with pace off here. It does seem that they've been able to generate, obviously, that wicket of Boucher in Glennie's last over, but being able to stem the run flow just a touch as well with pace off the ball.
Yeah, well, they need another breakthrough. They preferably, I mean, it's pretty obvious to say, they need rid of Danny Wyatt. She's the destructive batter out there at the moment. I mean, they've got pretty good line-up with the bat, haven't they? They bat quite deep, the Vipers, but you can get rid of Danny Wyatt. They might just feel that they could get back in this. She's gone for the reverse sweep, McCacken. Not quite timed it. But brings Danny Wyatt back on strike. 42 from 22. It's not a bad day out so far for her. She'll obviously want to be out there and see it through. That target just 115. That's well dug out. Full again from Glenn. Struggling to get her away, which would be just what she wants at the moment. Get the pressure back on.
Yeah, as you see, McCacken back on strike now. A lot more fielders into that inner ring.
That's well played. Sarah Glenn, hand on her head. She thought she might have got it through there, or just come through for the one. So do you think it's lucky, the orange, perhaps? Are we going to see Western Storm in orange next year, or is that just the colour of the year?
Yeah, it looks like it's just the colour of the year, doesn't it? No, I don't think we've got any links to orange in any capacity, Georgie.
Have you ever seen cider's a bit orange, isn't it? It's tenuous links.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where the green came from, to be honest. I do remember in the first year of the KSL, we were in all green, and yeah, it wasn't the best look in the world.
That's well placed by Danny Wyatt, and it's quick out there, and it's raced away. She's picked up another boundary. She moves on to 47, and the Vipers are racing along. The end of 9 overs, they're 78 for 1.
Yeah, just 37 to win now for the Vipers. Looking at the scoreboard ahead of me, just see how far ahead Vipers are. When DLS is always a good indication. Hopefully there's no more rain around, but DLS is always a good indication in a run chase around where you should be. It's currently sitting at 45, and Vipers are well ahead at that.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at that Manhattan, and as I look at it on our screen, I can see the cathedral looming in the background. It was like a reflection of it, you know, the nice tall Manhattans of the Vipers' innings, and in the background that resplendent cathedral. Yesterday it was like something out of a sci-fi movie as we watched the darkness. First we heard the rumble and everyone sort of looked up, and then it just engulfed the entire cathedral, and then the ground as Gordon starts her third. And it really was quite something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was it was a glorious day up until those dark clouds appeared behind the cathedral, and it was the wind as well. It was almost like we were going to come off for the wind to start with, and I was like, I can't do that. Can't come off for wind. And then, yeah, you just knew that the heavens were going to open, and
well, it's found the edge. When it's your day, it's your day. Fielder, good chase. Not quite as quick out there as it might be. Obviously, saw a lot of water yesterday, but as we say, really great work. Again, shout out to the groundsmen, the groundswomen, the grounds warriors. Yeah, it was a bit of a battle, wasn't it? They had to be warriors against the elements.
Yeah, they had to work really hard to get those covers on, and there was just so much water line on the outfield as well. I did feel for them.
Likes this reverse sweep, Ella McCacken, but brings Wyatt back on strike. She could move to her 50 in the one blow here, and I wouldn't really be surprised. As you can see, umpire Anna Harris. The dynamic duo is somewhat this too, aren't they? The two umpires out there today, Anna Harris and Sue Redfern. Sort of Batman and Robin-esque. And that's up in the air, and it's over the two fielders. Danny Wyatt will pick up 2, and she moves on to 49.
Yeah, this is what we saw from Wyatt yesterday. A lot of teams trying to go with square leg up and trying to force her to sweep because it's not a preferred option of hers. She's so strong down the ground, so strong through that cover point region that they need to have square leg up in the ring. And Wyatt's ridden her luck a little bit over square leg there, but gets a couple.
Well, she's got lucky again there. I just think she's got some bat on it. And she picks up 1. She moves on to 50, and that's Danny Wyatt. What a performance from her this weekend. And today she picks up 50 in just 27 deliveries. She's guiding this Vipers team with absolute ease. She's looked phenomenal at all parts. And what a weekend it has been for the Vipers opener. That's nicely played by McCacken. Good running as well from these two. Well, that is the end of 10 overs. Vipers halfway through the chase and very much more than halfway through the runs required. They move on to 85 for 1. They need just 30 more for victory and to defend their Charlotte Edwards trophy. And I will slide elegantly out to the right as Michael McCann comes to join Sophie Luff.
Thanks, Georgie. Yeah, there wasn't much elegant sliding out of the seats yesterday, I must admit, for myself, Ailish Cranston and Joe Gardner. It was a bit of a challenge getting out of this left-hand side, but Georgie and Michael are able to swap over pretty comfortably over there. We're going to see a change of bowler. It's going to be South African international de Klerk back into the attack. Gordon, I guess, going back to her trump card. They need wickets here, Blaze, and she'll be hoping that South African international is the answer to that.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, turning back to the top wicket taker in the tournament, which it just seems the extremely obvious thing to do. But even for de Klerk, this is extremely tough. Lovely start, though. It's been a massive part of this Blaze story. We do have to put in context as well, regardless of whether they win or lose this final. They've had a heck of a run. You know, they won 8 games in the Charlotte Edwards Cup and the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy put together as Loughborough Lightning across 3 seasons before this campaign. Worked away by McCacken, who will get into double figures, and that is good scamperage. That will get them 2.
Yeah, good running by